Oh my god! Oh my goodness!
What?
This show.
Oh,
Secret Invasion, man.
Yeah. I guess we have to talk about everything. It's really funny. As you know, I'm a big Destiny 2 fan, and right now, there's a lot of people that play Destiny 2 who are not happy with the game.
Okay, that's me. I'm one of those.
Yeah, but I think it's because like the newness is it's not, you're not going to get that same butterfly fall in love at the mall feeling anymore. Like I think that's kind of what MCU and is going through. It's like when the MCU first started with all these Marvel movies, we were very excited because we never got it before and we never seen this kind of stuff before. But it's been around so long. Like how long has it been around? Since 2012? Longer than that, since 2008. So it's been around a long time. So you're starting to see the dust and the seams and the.
I hear that, but I don't think that's the problem here.
Well, let's talk.
The newness wearing off that's not the problem with Secret Invasion.
Well, let's talk about what happened. So with Secret Invasion, it was billed as a espionage spy thriller. And there was some espionage spy thriller stuff, especially in the first 2 episodes. I felt that was really strong. But then it just collapsed. And then at the very end, we got a huge fist fight between 2 Super Skrulls that we just didn't expect. And it kind of, I think this show more than anything emphasized some of the critics of the MCU stuff where it's just like dumb superhero stuff. And I've always pushed against that until when I saw the last episode, I was like, well, you can't really argue. You can't really argue with it. It was just bad on a way that I wish it wasn't, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was very much looking forward to this series. And it is it's such a letdown.
I don't know why it was so, like, it had all the elements to be really, really good, but I just don't. I actually wrote about this in Substack. I didn't put in the show notes, but I will.
Do that.
Yeah, I put my thoughts in. I'm sure you read my Substack about it.
I did not. I've been away, so I did not read that.
Nobody reads anything anymore. Everybody just reads the.
Was it 250 characters or less?
No, it was not. It was very long.
Oh, sorry, then I didn't read that.
Yeah, so I just don't think the show trusted itself. Like, it didn't trust that MCU fans could watch a spy thriller with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury doing spy stuff. It just never trusted us to do that. And
why even say that's what it's going to be then?
I don't know. Because they had to get people to watch it. They had to get people to watch it. They had to get people to watch it. They need people to watch it. But the last episode was just absolutely terrible. You know what? And what really flagged it for me is like the first episode was 58 minutes long. The last episode was only 37 minutes. As soon as I turned on Disney Plus,
usually it's the opposite.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
As soon as I saw Disney Plus, and as soon as I saw how short the episode was, I was like, "This is gonna be bad." Like if it was good, it would have been a lot longer. And I'm sure they had more material. It just didn't.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes were like around 50 minutes, and then everything else was much shorter. Very weird.
It's not just like this is bad on.
I thought for a while, like around episode 4 or 5, I was like, maybe watching this as a movie would make it better. But after the finale episode, like even watching it as binging it all together, it's not going to be good.
There's 3 things that I want to highlight here. First, the actual logistics of making the show. I don't know what is going on. Can they not hire extras? They didn't have enough people to film this. Like in a lot of different episodes, like the scene where the president had to get moved and Nick Fury was tranquilizing the Secret Service agents, and they were
right.
That first of all, that wouldn't happen, and then second,
there would usually be more people in. Well, I mean, it was. I guess the president was there, so it was on lockdown. But yeah.
It's like that. It didn't feel good. It was like a dozen Secret Service agents. Like that's not how it works. It
right.
just felt. Right. It felt very like not lazy, but it just felt weak. Like it just felt less. And like and there was.
Well, the whole show's been like that, except for the first 2 episodes.
I agree. The first, the whole show's been.
It's almost like this is. It's almost like they've shot the first 2 episodes, and then there was an entire other show that got cut. And then they came back and they did reshoots on every other episode.
Did they
with some kind of a different, like it's like 3 through 6 were with a different budget almost.
Yes, budget. Yeah. And like it just didn't feel like the budget was here for this episode, for these shows.
Yeah, it's like the first 2 got the budget they should have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And then every other episode did not. That's super weird.
Well, we know
weird.
Yeah, we know for a fact that Disney has had some budget issues. And like, let's be clear, Disney has not had budget issues. Disney wants to save some money for the CEO.
Yeah, they're just
and the stockholders.
Right,
they have plenty of money. They got plenty of money, but they don't want to spend it. So let's be real on that.
But like, even if you're doing that, you want to set a consistent level.
Yeah.
For a show. Mm-hmm. This show should be at this level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not the first 2 episodes get the budget they needed, and then the rest of the episodes don't get the budget they needed.
Yeah, like let's look at Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's ending felt like an ending, and it felt like it had tons of people in it. Miss Marvel,
right?
It might have been just the illusion. It might have been a bad director who made it look like there was more people, but Miss Marvel felt way more climactic than this, and this is supposed to be super climactic. And I know where a lot of the budget went. The budget went into CGI, making Emily Clark have every superpower from every Avenger in every movie, which is just dumb. It's not, and that's the second part here. That's the second part. The story elements of this episode causes problems for the rest of the storytelling, not just for previous movies, but for upcoming stuff. And here's a couple of them. One, now I'm supposed to believe that Gaia is walking around Earth working with like the British Secret Service, and she has like more superpowers than anyone else. Am I supposed
she's
to
more
really
powerful than Captain Marvel.
She's more powerful than anyone. And am I really supposed to believe that? Like, am I really supposed to like get my head around that? So that's the first one. And then 2, this is the biggest problem.
And she can impersonate anybody.
Yeah, so it's like, what did you make, Marvel? And then 2, James Rhodes, Rhodey, supposedly, and this is not confirmed by anybody really, has been in a coma since Civil War? And like, so you're saying that the James Rhodes Rhodey I watched in Infinity War, Endgame, and all the rest of the stuff, Falcon and Winter Soldier, was a Skrull? Like, that's a huge. I think our viewers, our listeners, I think our listeners understand that I teach creative writing. You don't get to go back and you don't get to do this. Like, whenever you try and reshape a story where the readers understand what's going on and then you change things, it's not good because the readers feel betrayed. And that's how I felt. It's like, what is this? Like, this is not good from a craft element. It doesn't make any sense. And like, if they do come out and say that Rhodey was a Skrull the whole time, it's like enough to make me just kind of disgusted with the whole project. Like, now when I watch these old shows, I have to remember, he was actually a Skrull the whole time. That's not, because like the Skrull that was Rhodey was a bad guy. So all of a sudden I'm rooting for a bad guy in all these other shows. They gotta fix that. They're going to have to fix that. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they got to make it so that Rhodey was not a Skrull that whole time because it doesn't make any sense, and it's just bad storytelling skills.
Yeah, Secret Invasion is a bad series.
Yeah.
And it causes lots of problems.
It's not.
I'm putting all of that squarely on Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
And Marvel Studios leadership.
Yeah.
They should have never given this show to Ollie Salim and Brian Tucker. Because, like, you look at both of those guys' IMDb's, and they are very inexperienced. If they were going to do that, like give it to a couple of inexperienced guys, give them the support that they needed, which they clearly did not do here.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's madness. Like this.
And here's why you're so upset. Here's why
it's such a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste.
So now Samuel L. Jackson's entire career, all the way from his first Marvel movie up until now, is tarnished.
Well, I mean, okay,
by this one show.
Let's work on this a little bit here. Let's just work on this a little bit here. So, I would say that this show proved that the MCU has major problems, and I think that a lot of the things they were talking about was like Kevin Feige being like quality over quantity and pushing things back and trying to make things better.
I think this is the greatest evidence we've seen of that problem.
Yeah.
So them still pushing stuff out.
Yeah.
That they shouldn't have pushed out.
Yeah.
That was completely hampered by those problems. I think the problem with this is Kevin Feige was too hands off. Or whoever, like Marvel Studios was too hands off. Like they had too much going on. They couldn't help this the way it needed.
Yeah, I agree.
Usually people are like, oh, Marvel needs to let the directors do more, but that's with an established director. A very experienced director. With this, they needed the guidance. They needed this never should have left the script stage.
No. Well,
the script should have been. If this was the script, it should have been either punched up or trashed and start over.
And there were things about the script that I think were really good. There's a couple of different things I thought were really good. First, I think if you look at the first 2 episodes, maybe in the first 3 episodes, but definitely the first 2, Samuel Jackson being married to a Skrull was smart. I liked it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go anywhere.
No, that's the problem. It didn't do anything with it. That's one.
Right.
And then 2, the idea there's 1 million Skrulls on the planet is a problem that needs to be solved. And even the very ending where the president pretty much calls out all Skrulls, that's a social problem because now people are going to think that everybody's an alien and it's going to cause a lot of social unrest. I'm down with that. I feel like that would be a good place to leave it because now the MCU is a mess and at some point we're going to have to fix all this stuff. But they tried to kind of give an interesting ending and fix things at the same time, talking about a Kree Skrull peace offering or a peace summit.
Where the heck did that come from?
I have no idea. And we haven't even seen any Kree or talked about the Kree since Captain Marvel. So are they setting this up for the Marvels, which doesn't come out until November? It's sloppy, it's weak, and it's just not as strong as we thought. And here's the biggest problem. They had the actors to make this work. Don Cheadle, Samuel Jackson.
Amazing cast.
Emilia Clarke.
Amazing cast.
Olivia Colman was fun to watch every episode. Ben Mendelsohn was amazing. Kingsley Ben-Air's graphic I thought was menacing. Charlene Woodruff. All these actors did their job. They did their job. I'm not blaming the actors because the actors were coming into work and
they did their job. And you know what? I think that the reason the dialogue in a lot of those scenes was so good
because of them
is I'll bet that the actors were like, I'm not saying what you have in the script, and they came up with their own stuff on the fly.
Yeah, and we've seen other MCU shows that weren't as good as this. Like for example, I think Falcon and it kind of reminds me of Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I wrote about in my Substack that you didn't read. And Falcon and Winter Soldier also felt kind of but not as bad as this. Because at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, we get a new Captain America. But this just felt like a mess.
And even like Falcon and Winter Soldier had like more legitimate challenges.
Yeah, it was
that weren't self-created. So like they were legitimately up against the pandemic with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yep. With this, it's all self-owned. Like all of the problems with this are Marvel's problems.
I'm so curious about why the budget wasn't there to make all the stuff with the president feel real. And
why wasn't it consistent?
I don't know.
That's the weirdest thing ever.
Especially if you compare this to, when you look at Loki Series 1, it looks so expensive. Right. And when you look at Ms. Marvel, it looks like it's so expensive. And I don't understand what happened to make this show.
Yeah, it's like the back half of this series was like a BBC spinoff.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good reference.
So it's like it's not even Doctor Who. It's like it's got the Doctor Who spinoff budget.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then the first couple of episodes have an MCU budget.
Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest question we need to start as going after is where do we go from here?
Where do we go from what?
What?
So now we've got a Super Skrull, and hat tip to Jan on Mastodon. Maybe a Super Skrull Supreme.
Well, so
because she's like the most powerful being that we know of at this point.
I'm going to write about this at some point. I'm going to talk about the way to fix the MCU. I'm going to write about this maybe in a couple of days. But here's a preview of my thoughts. First, we need to not have any more MCU shows for a while. Just don't have any more. And until we fix this stuff to stop. We need to put we need the Loki's coming out, and do you know what? The Loki trailer looked really good. We're going to talk about the Loki trailer. It looked really, really good. Yeah. But we'll talk about that in a second. So So maybe Loki's going to help. We'll see.
They have people with experience.
Yeah, so we'll see
doing that show. So I'm hopeful for that show.
Yeah, we'll see. The thing from a story crafting element, whenever this stuff starts coming back up. So for example, we've got Loki Series 2, and then we've got Ms. Marvel. We got the Marvel. So that's the only two things coming out the rest of the year. Next year, I feel like there needs to be a show or a movie to kind of clean up Secret Invasion. And one way they can clean this up easily is three things. One, we have to weaken Gaia as the Super Skrull. She's too powerful. This kind of stuff happens with Superman a lot. Whenever Superman shows up, we have kryptonite, which allows him to be weakened. A superhero with no weakness is not interesting. So we have to have. So Gaia's going to have to be weakened in some way. I think maybe her powers can start to wane, or something can happen. But that needs to be cleaned up, and then we need an answer to the million Skrulls that are on the planet Earth and what's happening to them. I'm not sure how they go clean it up, but maybe that can be cleaned up in some way. So that's one. Two, they need to. I hope this has been a nice lesson for Marvel that they need to make better quality stuff. Like I'm not too worried about Loki, but I am worried about. We haven't even heard about the next show, and it might not be one because of the Secret Invasion. So maybe the next show is going to be better just because they've learned some things. But the next show needs to be aiming more towards Ms. Marvel level or even Moon Knight level. And the Secret Invasion level just wasn't working. So maybe they need to focus more on one character.
But we're still supposed to get Echo before the end of the year.
I would scrap that all over the place. I would just scrap it. Come on, what's Echo going to even do? Unless it's heavily.
I mean, it's going to do more. It's going to do more than this show did. I'll tell you that.
Unless Daredevil was heavily in this show, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know. And it made me really start thinking about She-Hulk. Say what you want about She-Hulk. At least that show was trying to do something different. And She-Hulk, if you remember the last episode of She-Hulk, it satirized the ending of Secret Invasion, because at the end of She-Hulk, there was this big old battle, and she's like, "This isn't what I want. This isn't what we want." And then we get that battle at the end of Secret Invasion, which I think is hilarious.
Pointless big CGI battle. Yeah.
It's like Marvel is not growing. It's not becoming more sophisticated because the people. If you think about this,
and this was the opportunity, for it to be more sophisticated.
Because if you
and it's completely squandered.
Yeah, if you are a 12-year-old when you watch Iron Man, how old are you now?
Right.
And you're not trying to you're growing as a person, and the MCU needs to grow. The MCU is not going to work anymore if they don't grow, if they don't adapt. And I think Secret Invasion was the opportunity for them to adapt and grow and be something more mature, and it just wasn't. It just didn't work. And I feel bad about it. I mean, I feel like it's a kind of a lost opportunity. But
I don't even think that like the MCU as a whole needs to like become more mature. I just think like, it's good to have different flavors of things, and this was set up as a very mature flavor of the MCU, and it was not at all.
Yeah, and I wish that we could pick things out, like the relationship.
It was amateur hour. It was playing. It was playing tic-tac-toe with a really high-end chess pieces.
Yeah, and if we could just take out Olivia Colman's character, if we could take out the relationship between Nick Fury and his squirrel wife,
Talos.
Yeah,
and his wife, right?
And Talos' death, I think that signaled that the show didn't know where it was going, because Ben Mendelsohn was such a great actor and Talos was such a great character, and for them just to kill him off like that, this was very weak sauce. And I wish that we could go back and just pick out the best of the show and keep it, but I don't know.
I want like Loki to somehow just completely undo this show, and this show never existed.
Yeah, well,
like nothing that happened in this show matters. It's just all completely undone.
I think that we need to be held. I think the show needs to be held accountable. I think the show has to deal with the ramifications of what it did to the MCU franchise and to the storytelling as a whole. I think it just needs to. I mean, and to be honest with you, Mike, I'll be honest with you. Of all the MCU stuff I've watched, and I've watched all of it, this is the worst. And that's saying something, because it hasn't. I mean, I was real critical of Thor: Love and Thunder, but I would watch Thor: Love and Thunder again real fast before I watch this stuff again.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
So this is. I feel like
you could do a supercut version of this with like all of the good Samuel L. Jackson and Olivia Colman and Ben Mendelsohn scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
and watch that, but I don't. Actually, that supercut version would be better than the series.
Yeah,
it would.
I don't mind. I would say this:
it doesn't need to go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't mind the MCU hitting a rock bottom. I'm okay with that, because when you hit rock bottom, you get back up and you become better. And I know for a fact that the conversations that Disney was having about quality over quantity is because they knew Secret Invasion was bad, but they had to release it anyway, so they just did, and they ate it. But they now are thinking, okay, it's done, it's out, we did it, let's move on, and I think they will. I don't
like. Where do we go? So now we've got a million scrolls. We've got a super scroll. Like, none of that lines up with the whole multiverse saga, right? Kang.
Yeah. So from my perspective, before we start wrapping up and get to news we can have views, from my perspective, I think that the ambition to make another Infinity Saga type thing again, that needs to get put to the trash can. And I think
I agree.
Marvel needs to release a successful Marvels. It needs to release a successful Loki season 2. It needs to release a successful Captain America movie. It needs to somehow figure out what it wants to do with the Kang Dynasty stuff. And then I think it should just stop. And I think Marvel has a Fantastic Four, and they have the X-Men. They have plenty of materials to keep the franchise going. And I think they need to start thinking about the next steps with that. And I don't think this can be salvaged. I just think they need to release the stuff they have, get that done, and then start moving on with Fantastic Four and X-Men. And cause they could easily make a Fantastic Four, the Galactus Saga. They could do that all day long. They could easily make an X-Men, the Magneto Saga, whatever they want. Because once they start releasing X-Men stuff, they could do that for another 20 years, no problem. But I think whatever they were trying to do with this stuff, like the whole multiverse saga, I think that needs to be dumped in the trash can. I don't think they have enough energy to do it. I don't think they have enough creative juices to do it. And before we wrap up, we are sitting right now during the strike. So they're not making anything after Captain. They're not making anything. So I don't.
They're not making anything. Yep.
So like next year's going to be a weird place of nothing coming out for anybody. So they go. But it could be a good time for them to just kind of think about what they want to do when the strike gets settled. And I've heard rumors that the strike is about to get settled, or they're going to start trying to figure it out. So maybe it gets settled soon. But if I were a consultant for Disney and Marvel after seeing this Secret Invasion, I would be like, whatever you got planned needs to be scrapped because you guys don't know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. We're at least going to review everything that's in flight.
Yeah, and like
give it all a good hard look.
Yeah, but from a creative perspective, sometimes you have to do that. Like if you are building a house,
I mean, Pixar's done that.
Yeah,
that's how Pixar had such a long run of S-tier movies, is because they would completely stop production on something and rewrite it.
Yeah,
and
that's okay. I mean, if you are making a meal and it's terrible and you don't
serve it. Right.
Serve it. You throw it in the trash can and start over.
Exactly.
But I think people are stubborn. I think there's contracts involved, and I think at some point people just think, "Well, I don't care what you think. This is great." There's no one who saw the ending of Secret Invasion thought that was good. No one.
What was Fury's plan?
What do you mean?
In the finale, like he's just going to give the harvest, all the Avengers DNA to Gravik and say, "Hey, you can use this, but please use it somewhere other than Earth." That was the plan?
I think the plan was to give it to Gaia and have Gaia kill Gravik. Like, I think that was the plan.
But that's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
Huge gamble. Like, why is she better than, Nick Fury trained him. He was like the star pupil.
From a story,
he was like the point of the spear for, gathering all of this stuff.
That's not how I would have ended the series. But to be honest, Gravik's speech
that's such a stupid plan.
But Gravik's speech to Nick Fury in the reactor room, I thought was really good. I thought the actors again did their job. I just think the story was weak. And it's
sure, but the whole time that's not Nick Fury.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you know that. But I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do that much? We have some news you can abuse. Are you ready?
Ready. Well, let's we grade everything here. Let's go ahead and give this a grade.
Okay, F.
Yep. All right.
F is in failure, which means whatever you were trying to do didn't work, and it's a failure.
Yeah. This is
It's not, and it's not. It's not entertaining. I mean, next episode we're going to grade all the MCU TV shows. We're going to rate them and grade them. But this is going to be at the bottom because it's the weakest, hands down.
Yeah, we'll see. I've got. There's something that's going to be hard for me to decide what's at the bottom.
What?
But we'll talk about that next time.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, news you can abuse. You know what? This is not a coincidence. They released the Loki season 2 trailer about at the end of Secret Invasion because they had to figure some way to make people excited. And
a palate cleanser.
And I mean, I'll be honest with you. I got on the hype train. I saw it the first time. I was like, this is fine. But then I saw it the second time. I was like, this is awesome. I'm really ready to go back to Loki. I really enjoy Loki season 1. I probably am going to watch all of Loki season 1 again before I watch Loki season 2.
I hear you. That sounds like a good idea.
I mean, I saw all those actors again. I saw all those characters again. I was like, I want to see how all these guys are doing. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And
Loki was like some of the best podcasts we did. So if you haven't listened to those, go back and listen to those.
And I mean, just from the trailer, just seeing Loki use his powers a little bit more, and the whole thing looks polished and smart. And very interestingly, our boy, what's his name? Jefferson Majors? What's his name?
Jonathan Majors. He appears in the trailer.
Yeah, he appears in the trailer, which I thought Marvel would kind of skip away, but they did not. I don't think they are going to. I think they're like, we just got to do this.
Yeah, I saw it first. The only thing you saw of him was a statue. I was like, oh, that's so they're trying to steer away from him. But then in the back quarter of the trailer, he appears in the flesh, so he's still there.
Jonathan Majors' legal issues, I think, are going to get cleared up at some point. And I think as people are going to have to kind of realize that the story that was told initially might not be what really happened. But I think from Marvel's perspective, I think they're like, well, we have to do something. So we'll see how they work this out. Jonathan Majors is going to hang over the show, and what happens is going to hang over the show, but
I don't think he's going to have as big of a role as
probably not
previously intended.
No, he'll probably have a. They definitely won't use.
I think they're salvaging.
Well, I mean, they were using Jonathan Majors as the next big thing. They were really hanging a lot on him to move the show and move the franchise forward.
I mean, they gave him the finale of Loki series, season 1,
and then like his legal issues came up. If you want to find out what that is, you can just Google Jonathan Majors legal issues. Right. But I do think that some of his legal issues are going to get cleared up because a lot of the stuff that was reported might not be true. But we'll have to see. Wait. But it's from Marvel's perspective, it was a pretty big risk. But I mean, Marvel doesn't have a lot of choices. They need to figure out a way to make people watch Loki. So that we'll see. But from a stylistic perspective,
but it has been delayed, so they could have like made some nice cuts to limit his appearances in it. I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll have to.
I mean, that's definitely the flavor I got from the trailer. Yeah, the flavor I got from the trailer is that he's not as big of a part of the show as you would have thought. Leaving off from the previous season.
Yeah, it looked like too that they were really trying to give our boy, what's his name, Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston. They really wanted to give him more of a highlight, which I thought was interesting too. But again, this show has a lot of great actors. I'm really looking forward to. I just watched Anything, Everything, All at Once. Now I'm really excited. You did? I'm really excited to see Ki-Hao Kwan. I'm really excited to see him there on the show. He's going to be great. But I will say this: I am done trying to theory craft and fix the whole time travel thing. I am done with it. It's obvious that they're done with it. Like it's obvious that I'm done with it. Like if they want to talk about time travel, they're talking about time travel. Even though they have established that time travel is not possible, whatever. I don't care. I'm sick of arguing about it. I'm done. I'm done with it. It's just silly. It's silly. And I was watching the trailer. I was like, well, I guess you can time travel. I guess you can. All right, whatever. Yep. It's just so dumb. It just makes me upset. Okay. But it is what it is. All right, that's it. That's all the news and abuse I got. If you haven't watched the trailer yet, please watch the trailer. We're definitely going to cover it all over the place. It comes out in October, which is relatively soon. So we're pretty excited. Right. Yep. And we have plenty of stuff to do before then. We have to.
That's right. Including, up next, we're going to rate all of the MCU TV shows. We're going to rate
all MCU TV shows. There's been quite a bit of them. So we're going to I'm going to write them all down and really think about where I would
excluding the Netflix stuff. So if you consider that an MCU TV show, that's not going to be part of what we're doing.
Why can't we do those too?
I don't think it fits.
I want to do a sidebar for them. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
Where I can talk about those shows too. We'll figure it out. But anyway, definitely tune in next week, guys, where we do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be pretty interesting.
Yep. Mike, is there anything else we need to go over before we adjourn?
How do people share this with their friends and stuff like that?
I like to share this with my friends by telling my family and friends about it, and then them not caring. But shout out to some of my students. They do find me on the internet, and they do find that I do a podcast. So some of my students listen to this. I don't know how.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
so that's kind of cool. But usually, I just send it to people via a chat or a text. I kind of just forward it to them, let them listen to it.
I think we should challenge our listeners. We know that you're always sharing this podcast with people, but let's make it visible. Let's put it out there on social media. Mastodon, Instagram, Threads, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah,
put it out there. Let's see it.
Yeah, so if you're on Mastodon, try to share it using the proper hashtags, And we are very active on there, so I'll totally conversate with you back and forth. We'll answer some questions and stuff too. Whenever I get a chance to get on social media without my wife saying anything, I totally will do it.